How I structure a digital product before I design anything as a digital product designer. Hey, I am Georgia, a digital product designer. I design websites, landing pages, web apps, I do SEO, and many more. When a client comes with an idea about a website, it's either too abstract or too chaotic. So my job before everything is to be a strategist and bring clarity and strategy to the process. So how do I do that? Well, I follow specific steps before I even open up Figma. Starting with a very well-targeted questionnaire, which the client gets to answer. All the questions are revolving around topics such as business goals, target audience, brand guidelines, product logic, pages, and many more. This does not only help me as a designer, but also the client to better grasp their business as a whole. After that, we hop on a discovery call to discuss their answers and any relevant feedback they would like to leave. Then it's my turn to turn all this information into an actionable plan. So this is the research phase where I process the feedback and delve even deeper into the project by scanning the competition and any relevant information online to better understand the client's industry. So only then do I start designing. You may ask, why so many steps? Why can't I just open up Figma and put two and two together? Well, that's the difference between designing for design's sake and strategic design. Strategic design takes into account business goals, target audience, and user experience. So based on these pillars, I create the customer's product because you can't do business without a strategy. Otherwise, you will get lost among millions of similar brands and the customer won't fully understand why they should choose you and your product or service. So let's look at the real-world example, ActiveLab. The client here wanted me to transform their entire brand identity, from logos, brand colors, typography, cards, to brochure, website, letterheads, and many more. Everything that the company previously had, they wanted it redesigned. So they wanted like a fresh start. The client's guidelines were very specific. They wanted it professional, minimal, no wow-like elements and extravagant stuff. And their overarching goal was to establish authority. So my first question to them was, why do you think you need a rebranding? And their answer was that they felt like their current brand identity didn't really reflect the company's values anymore. And for a company that deals with laboratory equipment, highlighting technological progress is imperative. And you can't do that with a website that looks more than 15 years old. Another thing they wanted to highlight was their tech support, which in my opinion is very important when it comes to high-value products that target industrial clients. These enterprise-level clients feel safer with their investment when they know beforehand that the company will be there with their specialists to provide with anything they need. It was time for me to digest all that information and generate the first draft. The wireframe. So what is the wireframe? The wireframe is like the blueprint of the website, the backbone in other words. So it has no colors or fancy elements, it's just a very basic structure of the site's content. And this structure will in turn guide the design process. So considering the feedback, I decided to showcase the company's collaborators on the homepage. Because I wanted visitors to understand immediately that the company had very strong partnerships and they would go like, oh, look here, this company has some partnerships with leading industry names, so they must be very authoritative. Then what I did was turn the tech support document they provided me into 4 main pillars so that the visitor could understand immediately the type of technical support the company offered. Since I wouldn't be designing and developing by myself on Webflow, but I would be handing over the design to a developer, I had to make sure that I would make the developer's life easier. So the design had to be clean, systemized and organized before they hand over to the developer. So as you can see here, the company hadn't really invested much in the user experience aspect and the modern aspect of web design. They just had a website, an old logo, and some colors added here and there. They didn't really care much about their digital presence. However, since times are moving forward, their new brand identity to reflect technological progress, professionalism, and that they are always ahead in their industry. That's why they decided that, this website and this current brand identity doesn't really do much for us anymore. So my task as a digital product designer was to try and understand their industry, as I said, and how I can solve that problem for them. And you can only do that if you research enough, understand the client's industry and the feedback they give you. So the client comes to you with a problem and you offer them a solution, but you also have to justify why you think that solution will work and why you chose that instead of choosing something else. The biggest challenge of this project was to organize the products. The company had over 140 products from 26 companies in total, and each product page had its own subcategories, photos, embedded PDFs, and many more. A whole lot of information that had to be turned into a very user-friendly layout without leaving out important information. So, in the next video, I will talk about how I cleaned out the products page and more challenges I found on the way. Thanks for watching.